This is the Baskets Way podcast. This is Mike B with my beautiful wife Shannon. Today is our 10-year anniversary, and we wanted to bring y'all an episode about setting boundaries with your families when it comes to your relationship.
10 years, do it 10 years seem like a long time?
Sometimes, but not really, Especially, people say time don't mean nothing when you having fun. I mean, it's of course a relationship is always a learning experience, and got to go through certain things to get to a certain place. And I'm proud to say that we are at that place.
Yeah, because it didn't happen overnight.
Nah, definitely not. Definitely not overnight. I just want to start off this episode so far as with the boundaries. Fellas, we got to stop allowing people to come into our relationships and tell us what needs to happen, especially when it comes to your family, your mom, your aunts, because it's typically the women who are going to come in and try to tell the fellas what it is that they need to do with their women. And sometimes the other way around, brother might have a sister or something who gonna try to tell him something about his wife or whatever, and I'm just living proof that type of stuff will never work in a relationship, because you got to do what works for you, fellas. Ladies too. I mean, I can't speak for a woman because I'm not one. You know what I'm saying? But fellas, you gotta stand on your square and do what works for your family and works for your household, versus somebody trying to tell you what's gonna work for your household. I mean, because I went through some times where when you're young and you new in a relationship, and you don't really understand certain things in a relationship, and you got friends and you got family members that you feel like you can confide in, you can talk to about stuff. That kind of goes out of the window when you're in a serious relationship. That's elementary stuff, when you can talk to your friends and your family about your relationship and all that, because you are going to get over the problem. What you tell your friends and your family about your significant other, they going to remember. And when it's time and when you over it, they going to still remember something that you told them about your significant other, and it's going to basically mess up the relationship, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's more so of a problem when family members are like really in your business, like trying to trying to run your household basically. And I don't really think it happens more with the men or the women. Like, it's something that I see that happens with both, like, a lot.
Right.
And I just don't understand how, everybody can have an asshole opinion about what goes on in somebody else's house, but how can you have the balls that think you can tell somebody what they can or what they can't do in their relationship,
I don't really
what goes on in their house when you don't pay no bills in these people's house? Right,
but that also goes along with the role that somebody plays in your life. I don't think that it's so much of family members that come in and try to tell you what you can and can't do. I think it's more or less people that come into your life with overpowering opinions. And I might go off on a little tangent here, if that but I think that kind of branches off from a lot of men being raised by their mothers and or aunts, grandmothers, or whatever. A lot of men nowadays don't have stable men in their lives, because my father, and I can't speak for everyone else's father, but when I was coming up as a youth, a lot of men would tell you that it's your business what you do, and it ain't nobody business what you got going on, period, point blank. But in the world that we live in today, a lot of men coming up were raised by their mothers, grandmothers. They didn't really have a strong father figure, so the opinion of their mothers basically is etched in stone. And no offense, ladies, but most women are emotional. You know what I'm saying? And when men are raised by their mothers, it seems as though their mothers are more or have a heavier opinion in their lives than versus, you know, them just giving them advice. If a man's mama tell him something like, you know, she wrong and you need to do blah blah blah, most of the men gonna go home and they gonna say that to their wives in turn, you know, or girlfriend or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel as though, you know, that has a bearing on you know, a lot of men being raised by their moms have a bearing on a lot of men taking opinions versus them doing what they feel as though they need to do. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does, but I don't know. I don't know. Getting older and seeing or hearing a lot, you know, you just understand that this happens way more than, you know, you can imagine. And me personally, I feel like, you know, of course, your kids, they're grown, they make their own decisions, but I feel like if you are in your kids' business all of the time trying to run their lives, then it's something lacking in your life.
It makes sense.
And I just feel like as an adult, sometimes you just have to scale back and let your kids be and make decisions for themselves. You know what I'm saying? For instance, like my mama. When has my mama ever tried to be in our business and tell us what we need to do or what we shouldn't be doing or how we need to do it?
Right.
Never. And never will.
Right.
And you know, thankfully my mama is not that type of person, but if she was, I wouldn't allow it.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's gonna tell me what to do in the house that I live in. Like, nobody is gonna make decisions for me and my husband.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad, I'm just thankful that, you know, we've been together 10 years. We've been through a lot. We've been through the he said, she said, what he think, what she think. And at the end of the day, you know, we got past it. And don't nobody make decisions for us but us. I love that about us.
But you talking about two strong-minded people who got minds of their own. I mean, no offense to anybody, but a lot of people don't have a mind of their own. A lot of people, their mama or their daddy been thinking for them their whole life.
You think that's why they allowed that?
Yeah. Their mama and their daddy think, or you know, whoever is, quote, unquote, an authority figure in your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, whenever you ask them for advice, whatever they say is etched in stone.
But what about the people who don't even ask for advice? There's a lot of people who don't ask their family for advice, and they just always in it.
But see, if your family can come into your life and do that, then you have some sort of a relationship with them that makes them feel like they can do that.
Oh yeah, of course.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, there's a relationship that comes from that for them to be able to step into your life and tell you, you know what I'm saying, what they feel like you should be doing with your shit. You know what I'm saying?
True. And I just feel like if you are going through that, and if that means you have invited your mom, your dad, your aunt, or whoever it is in your life, and I feel like you should invite them out. Mara, no yelling, okay? But like I was saying, you should invite them out, because there's just a bunch of chaos to have people, you know, running your house or say so about what's going on.
Right. I mean, that, like I said, that just goes for the era we live in. Most adults don't think for themselves. Just like we talk about, sometimes you'll have an adult who will believe something that, for example, a Cardi B or somebody will say online, and they gonna run with that. Something that she say, and they gonna run with that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, whereas you have adults who have their own mind, live their own lives. Nobody has any bearing on anything they do, because you have a strong mind. I mean, you have to be. You know
that take advice. When you're taking advice, to take what you need and leave the rest.
Right.
You know, you have to know, well, this makes sense or this may work, versus
Yeah, because it's a lot of people out here that's living other people's lives, making other people mistakes. You did this because your grandma said for you to do this, or you did that because your grandma said for you to do that, or you said this because your mama said it was smart for you to tell her this. So really, in turn, you ain't making your own mistakes. You making your mama mistakes. You making your daddy mistakes.
And you know that's crazy because you always told me that I do what I want to do. I have to do what I want to do. I cannot do what somebody else want me to do. And then when things backfire, I'm sitting there looking crazy because I did something that somebody else wanted me to do. That just don't make sense to me.
Right. Yeah. True.
So if things go wrong,
you can say I fucked that up myself.
Yeah, I can stand on that.
Right.
I can live with it.
I dig it. Meaning that's understandable. But sometimes you should listen to me.
I do. I do listen to you.
Okay. But it's just one of those type of situations where a lot of people don't think for themselves. A lot of people don't have their own minds, don't make their own decisions. We have to learn that there's absolutely no way that it makes sense to always ask someone else's opinion on what you should do when it comes to your own home, because when you're in your own home, the only thing that's gonna work is what works for you.
Absolutely. I couldn't imagine, like I said, I love the fact that we make decisions together, and I couldn't imagine having to talk with somebody else and asking them what do they think. That's a no for me.
Right. And God rest my mother's soul, I can't sit here and 100% say 100% that if my mom was still alive that she wouldn't have any say so, because I didn't have that time with my mother, and I can't say that I wouldn't be one of those guys that may talk to my mom about certain things or whatever the case may be. But I believe that I would still be a strong-minded individual even if my mom was still around. My dad, on the other hand, he was always the one who told me, as a man, you stand on your own too, and you make your own decisions as a man. I ain't telling you shit about nothing, or I can give you my opinion, but you do what's best for you, and that's why I am the way that I am. You know what I'm saying? And really, I love my daddy for that. Well, that was just a small piece. Hopefully that little tidbit, did a little something for somebody. Like I said, fellas, man, we just got to be a little bit stronger, standing on our square, making sure that, we do what's best for us, and females also. But
yeah, because home comes first. People don't understand that. People don't understand how marriage works. You know what I'm saying? People don't understand. People think that is, my mama over my wife, or my mama over my husband, or my mama over or my dad.
Right. Well, for one, if you still in the mind frame that your mom comes before your wife, then you probably don't need to be married.
I agree.
If you put anybody before your wife or your child, in that sense, you don't need to be married, because your household, it definitely comes first. But with that being said, my people, we ain't gonna hold y'all forever. We just wanted to come through and just give y'all a little dab or something. But we sure appreciate y'all for listening. And this is the Baskets Way Podcast. We will holler at y'all later. Peace.
Bye bye. Oh, she waving.